Zamfara APC expects Suraju Garoba 125 orders for violating NEC order. President Buhari has sent to Police Bill 2020. Kano, Zamfara, Anambra and 12 other states to benefit from COVID-19 education incentive and business. NCC directs that all unused data must be rolled over to NET subscription. And on the international scene, ECOWAS threatened to embargo if Mali refuses to meet its transition demands. Hello and welcome to Svtv News. I am Musa Joy Onyoza. The several-man disciplinary committee set up by the Zamfara State chapter of the All Progressives Congress (APC) has expressed Suraju Garoba and 125 others for violating National Executive Council resolution of the party and anti-party activities. Suraju Garoba, with membership registration 01002642 from Dodo Ward, Gusau Government Area, is the chairman Marafas faction of APC. Newsmen report that the National Secretariat of the APC had earlier directed the state chapter of the party to set up a disciplinary committee to sanction any member who violated the directive of its NEC. The directive was for the withdrawal of all subsisting court cases by the members, and Suraju Garoba was among the 140 members who took party to court after the NEC directives. For more on the story, our correspondent Peter Phillips has more detail.
A statement signed by the chairman of the committee, Alhaji Abdullahi Jau, in Gusau on Thursday said committee was mandated by the state APC chapter to take disciplinary action against the erring members for working against the party's NEC resolution. According to him, out of 140 members of the party involved in the case, 126 have been expelled from the party for working against the NEC directives and involving in anti-party activities. He said that the remaining 14 members were pardoned by the party. During the investigation, they gave all the members fair hearing by inviting all of them, but only 15 of them appeared before the committee, and out of them, they considered pardon for 14 who tendered their apology to the party. Alhaji Abdullah Ojao said that the committee had already handed over the report to the state APC chairman, Alhaji Lawal Liman, and that the report had already been adopted by the state executive committee of the party. He thanked the APC leadership in the state, members of the committee, and other party members who supported the committee while carrying out its assignments. Peter Phillips, reporting for SVTV Gusau.
The Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Omar Farouk, has flagged off the distribution of COVID-19 palliatives to vulnerable persons in Kebbi State. The gesture by the federal government is aimed at further cushioning the hardship arising from the coronavirus pandemic. The minister, who flagged off the distribution in Kabgo local government area on Wednesday, also used the visit to commensurate with the flood victims in Kebbi State whose farmlands, crops, and houses were affected by the disaster. She said that the distribution was to cushion the effect of the COVID-19 restrictions in the state. She disclosed that over 301 vulnerable households will benefit from the COVID-19 palliatives. Zamfara State Police Commissioner Barrister Usman Nagogo has warned politicians to stop playing politics with security issues in the state, as any attempt to ridicule security will be dealt with squarely. PC Nagogo gave the warning on Thursday while briefing journalists at the police command headquarters in Gusau, Zamfara State capital. He said the tactics by politicians to turn serious security issues to frivolity in order to gain public sympathy will not be tolerated. For more on the story, Ibrahim Semira report.
The commissioner said then, as a deputy commissioner of police, Zamfara State Police Command in 2016, he chaired the special committee on disarmament and amnesty set up by the previous administration of Abdulaziz Yari Abubakar, and the committee was able to recover different calibers of arms, including 16 AK-47 and a rocket launcher. He said, as a chairman of committee, whose membership included first-class emirs, permanent secretaries, and top security personnel. He met with many bandits in the forest, including the most notorious bandits, Buharin Daji, at his enclave in a place called Bokani. Then, these politicians were calling him a hero who loved and wants security in Zamfara, but none just because of their selfish politics. They say he is a politician. He said on 12 September, the police on intelligence and credible information got wind that certain individuals are holding a meeting with some leaders of repentant bandits with a view to entice them with monetary and other incentives in order to go back to the forest and return to the dark days. CP Nagogo therefore explained that the arrest of Alhaji Abubakar Muhammad and Tabawa and 17 others on 12 September was based on intelligence-driven reports and a proactive measures taken by the police to curtail any act of banditry and related criminality in the state. Samira Ibrahim reporting for SVTV.
The Sokoto State Police Command has confirmed the death of the divisional police officer and an inspector general attacked to Gidan Madi Division in Tangaza local government area of the state. The command spokesman, DSP Sadiq Abubakar, told journalists on Thursday in Sokoto State that about 100 unknown gunmen invaded the town and engaged the police in a gun battle. Mr. Abubakar said the incident occurred at about 1:30 a.m. and two officers, including Aliu Bello, the DPO, and Mohammed Abdullahi, an inspector, were shot dead by the armed men dressed in armed camouflage. He said another ASP, Sani Abdullahi, sustained injuries and was hospitalized, while the police have drafted senior officers to undertake assessment of the situation. According to him, emergency meetings were conducted by the police, along with sister security agencies, district heads, and council administrators. He reiterated the police commitment to safeguard people's lives and property and urged citizens to assist the authorities with useful information. President Muhammadu Buhari has signed into law the Nigerian Police Bill 2020. The signing of the bill into law was reported in a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina. The President, in a memo dated September 16, 2020, communicated his assent to the bill to the National Assembly through the Clerk of the Legislature. The Act repeals the Police Act laws of the Federation 2004 and provides for a more effective and well-organized police force driven by the principles of transparency and accountability in its operations and management of its resources. Among others, the Act establishes an appropriate funding framework for the police in line with what is obtainable in other federal government key institutions, enhances professionalism in the force through increased training opportunities, and creates an enduring cooperation and partnership between the police force and communities in maintaining peace and combating crimes nationwide. President Muhammadu Buhari's government has come under attack over the compulsory registration of self-certification forms. The Buhari-led administration had on Thursday ordered that all Nigerians with account holders in any financial institution must obtain, complete, and submit self-certification forms. The forms are required by the relevant financial institutions to do due diligence procedures in line with the Income Tax Regulation 2019. The government announced that failure to adhere to this instruction will attract sanctions, which may include monetary penalty or inability to operate the account. This development has led to criticism from Nigerians on Twitter, accusing the government of always making life difficult for Nigerians. Some Nigerians query the importance of BVN and National ID card if every account holder needs to find out a self-certification form in the midst of the pandemic. The Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service, Hamid Ali, has appointed 2 new acting Deputy Controllers General of Customs and 5 acting Assistant Controller Generals of Customs following statutory retirement of some members of NCS management. The spokesman for the service, Joseph Atta, made this known in a statement in Abuja on Thursday. Mr. Atta said the newly appointed Deputy Controller Generals were DCG Abdullahi Babani to head Human Resources Development and DC Mohammed Boy Nigerian Customs Service Tradoc. He stated that the appointed Assistant Controller Generals were ACG Saidu Galadima in charge of ICT modernization, SM Modibo for Zone B, Headquarter ACG Oba Mohammed for E, I and I. He added that other ACGs appointed were Hamza Gumi to head T&T, ACG Usman Dakingari in charge of Doctrine and Development. The National Economic Council says 15 states have qualified to benefit from the Global Partnership for Education funding for education as part of measures to cushion the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the sector. Governor Nasiru El-Rufai of Kaduna State disclosed this while virtually briefing State House correspondents after the virtual NEC meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Osibanjo. The virtual NEC meeting was anchored from the Presidential Villa, Abuja. He announced that the federal government has put in place some financial incentives to assist the state in implementing the Education COVID-19 plan. Selected states are to benefit from the COVID-19 GPE Global Partnership for Education funding, those that are above the national average from at least 2 of the 3 criteria. The states that have qualified are Abia, Anambra, Akwa Ibom, Benue, Ebonyi, Jigawa, Kaduna, Katsina, Kebbi, Kano, Nasarawa, Niger, Plateau, Sokoto, and Zamfara states. These are the states that made 2 of the 3 criteria for GPE funding. This is a grant from the World Bank and other donors. 333 certified dead civil servants have been uncovered to be on the payroll of Niger State government for the past 2 years. Besides the unbelievable revelation of the dead, 207 million naira has also been uncovered as being stolen and paid as salaries to fake civil servants in the state, amounting to about 5 billion naira in the past 2 years. Chairman of the screening committee set up by the state government to fish out the ghost workers from the state civil service, who is also Commissioner for Works, Engineer Ibrahim Mohammed Panti, who disclosed this in an interview, said the screening still continues and that more revelations are still likely to unfold. He said those mostly involved are account officers and other staff from the State Ministry of Health, adding that they are among the 80 civil servants sacked last week. Out of the purported 27,000 civil servants on the payroll of the state government, only 15,707 of them have been discovered to be genuine workers so far. President Muhammadu Buhari has advised political parties, candidates and security agents to behave responsibly in the forthcoming Edo State gubernatorial elections. The president, in a message to voters, political parties, election officials, security personnel, reiterated his stance to a free and fair elections, but his own commitment is not enough if other actors at ground zero refuse to abide by the rules. According to President Muhammadu Buhari, he wants to see democratic standard in the country raised higher at every level, but this cannot be achieved when politicians resort to do or die method to gain power by any means of machination. He said that the do or die mentality to politics is a threat to free and fair elections because the actors are more focused on winning than caring about a fair outcome that reflects the will of the people. The president appealed to all political parties and their candidates to behave peacefully and respect law and order. He also advised election officials and security agents to remain neutral to ensure free and fair elections and avoid any actions capable of compromising the integrity of the elections. A provision trader, Hajia Zainab, on Thursday pleaded with a customary court sitting at Iletutu in Ibadan to grant her request for divorce because she is afraid of contracting sexually transmitted diseases from her husband Nuruddin. Hajia Zainab, who resides in Muslim Odinjo area in Ibadan, told the court that she stopped performing her wifely role because Nuruddin has an STD. She said she stopped sleeping with him because he has STDs She disclosed that sometime in March 2014, Nuruddin infected her. Still to come your way is the business and the international. But before then, a quick commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome back on Business. Aguirita has more detail.
Welcome Standard Voice Business Updates. I'm Aguirita. Unused data by telecom subscribers must be rolled over in subsequent subscriptions, the Nigeria Communication Commission has said. This was disclosed in a statement said by the agency's spokesperson, Ikechukwu Aden, on Thursday. The statement said the agency reached the conclusion at the regular biannual meeting with senior executive of telecommunication companies on complaint management. The meeting, which was held virtually, focused on consumer relations and complaint management processes. The Commission and telecom service providers will hold follow-up discussion on the fair usage policy, unlimited data bundles and data rollover. This will provide a clearer explanation and better understanding of the processes and procedures of the policy for the benefit of the consumers. The Commission restated that its directive of June 2018 to service providers to commence implementation of data rollover from 26 June 2018 remain in force. Ibrahim Fazia has more details.
In other words, a subscriber's unused data must be rolled over to his or her subsequent data subscription. Therefore, the Commission urged service providers to continue to inform and educate subscribers on the procedures and processes for data rollover. The NCC and the telecom service providers agreed that the compensation policy should be revisited and complied with at all times. It said it is to ensure full compliance with the new compliance categories and service level agreements consent to by the NCC and service providers in the telecommunication ecosystem. According to the statement, service providers agreed to ensure that senior level customers relation officer supports their respective compliance management terms. Also to resolve complaints that were not resolved to the satisfaction of the customers when such complaints were first reported. Fawzia Ibrahim reporting for Svtv.
And on the international scene, Mali's National Committee for the Salvation of the People, the country's current governing body set up by mutinous soldiers, have been given 1 week to meet the demands of ECOWAS to avoid a total embargo. The CNSP spokesman Israel Watch said during a news conference on ECOWAS mini-summit held in Accra, capital of Ghana, so that the CNSP has been given a week to comply with the ECOWAS demands or face sanctions. Mr. Ward added that ECOWAS threatened to impose a total embargo if their demands are not met, which includes a civil political transition in the nation. The spokesman told the ECOWAS clearly that they are at the service of the people, since the majority of the people spoke of a military transition. They suggested that they could go in that direction, but they refused. CNSP's President Assimi Goïta went to Accra on Tuesday with a delegation to explain to ECOWAS heads of state and government the conclusions of the national consultation held September 10th to 12th and to discuss the lifting of sanctions on Mali. Watch said that the two sides did not reach any agreement regarding the issue of power transition in Mali. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Zamfara APC expects to Rajo Garoba 125 orders for violating NEC order. President Buhari assent to Police Bill 2020. Kano, Zamfara, Anambra and 12 other states to benefit from COVID-19 education incentive. On business, NCC directs that all unused data must be rolled over to net subscription. And on the international scene, ECOWAS threatened to embargo if Mali refuses to meet its transition demands. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew and head of news and current affairs department, Alhaji Ibrahim Garoba, I still remain Musa Joy Onyoza. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.